Hello everyone and welcome back to the Final Points. The Christmas carol goes peace on earth and mercy mild, but this season we might just be saying peace in New York and crowds going wild. Metta World Peace has announced its intentions to sign with the New York Knicks for the next 2 years. And with me I have Max Scheinberg, Brian Coyle, and Andrew Park to break down the basketball implications of such a move. Now, Max Scheinberg, you are our New York expert. What do you have to say about this move?
I love the signing. I mean, this is a guy that brings hustle, physicality, versatility. He averaged 12.4 points per game along with 5 rebounds and almost 2 steals. That's something, they got him for $1.65 million. He's going to make 7.7 from the Lakers, but this is a guy that automatically, I know he's insane, I know he's crazy, but he is going to bring another dimension to this team, and I love it. I mean, he's going to bring what New York is, He represents it. He's from Queensbridge, and I just think it's a good day for New York.
I'm totally with you on this, Max. It's hilarious, but it's a good thing. 'Cause Metta World Peace brings incredible defense. He's not as good as he used to be, obviously. He's gotten older. But he can cover guys. You saw him covering Melo last year when the Knicks went out to play the Lakers. He can cover big, dynamic players, and that's all they're going to ask him to do. He's going to hit 3 once in a while, and it's also an entertaining move. Like, the Knicks are not at the top of the league right now. They're not in the top of the East. They might be in the top 2 in the East. But if you're not going to be great, at least they're going to be entertaining. It's the Knicks. It's going to be fun. I love the fact that Metta World Peace is coming to New York.
In fact, MSG is really the biggest stage you can get in the basketball world. And now Andrew Park, our West Coast expert, has definitely seen Metta World Peace, or as he put it, the artist formerly known as Ron, for the past couple of seasons. Now, Andrew, what can you tell us about what Metta World Peace can contribute on the court?
I think Max and Brian covered it really well. He's your defender. He's going to guard the other team's best player, and especially last year with the multitude of injuries that the Lakers suffered, and of course with the advent now of teams putting out players like LeBron, just people who are traditional small forwards, putting them at the 4 spot. I think Metta World Peace, he played a bit of power forward with the Lakers as well, especially in Mike D'Antoni's running gun offense. And he's strong enough to, the dude is jacked. He's 6'7", I don't know, like 250. It's something ridiculous. He is really strong. So to be able to put him at that 4 position is really something that the Knicks will be able to do. Metta World Peace, as long as he has his defense and that size, he always has a place in this league. One thing that I'm a little worried about, though, is Mike Woodson's offense is a bit similar to Mike D'Antoni's offense in that it's a very, very free, a lot of motion, very spread out. And what Metta World Peace is going to be doing is he's going to be chucking up a lot of threes, and which is something I guess is good and bad in that on some days he'll be really good and hit a majority of his shots, but on other days he won't. And with the Lakers, he only hit 29% of his 3-pointers, which is far below the league average of 33-34%. And in fact, he's only shot above the league average of 3-pointers 2 times in his career. So that's something to look out for. But again, what the other guy said, yeah, a lot of people might think Metta World Peace is mentally insane, but at the same time, he's personality. He's someone who you can't really hate unless you're Ben Wallace.
New York personified.
Or maybe James Harden.
Absolutely.
Or maybe James Harden. But he is such. I've heard so many stories about how nice Metta World Peace is. He's going to bring personality to that floor at MSG, the biggest stage of professional basketball. I mean, there's a story about how he auctioned off his championship ring with the Lakers and used that money and donated it to mental health nonprofit organizations. So he's a great pickup. Only Max said 1.65 million, which is a bargain. Especially he's instant defense, and that's what the Knicks need. And you can never have too much defense on your team. And
he's an entertainer.
Great move.
He's an entertainer, and he shoots a lot of threes. He's gonna fit perfectly in New York.
No, yeah, of course.
Last thing on your point on Woodson's offense, he's taken principles from D'Antoni, but typically he is an ISO offense. As you saw, once he took over, Melo started getting more touches. So I don't really think that that's going to be a big factor. I think that he'll fit right in. It's going to be a powerful starting lineup, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'll also, to add one more thing, I think if the Knicks want to be successful with Metta World Peace, they need to really utilize utilize a matchup. So what he did a lot on the Lakers was he bullied smaller players that had to guard him in the post, and that he showed really good success in the post. And despite what a lot of people think, he's actually a pretty good finisher at the rim. So I think if Woodson realizes that and utilizes him in the post against smaller players, smaller shooting guards that would have to guard him, then I think the Knicks would be doing really well.
And while this might be a great positive move for the New York Knicks, this might be an instance of one step forward, two steps back, or as the great John Madden once put it, 2 steps equals 1 bad knee. J.R. Smith has recently reported to have undergone knee surgery and will be out for the upcoming 3 to 4 months, which puts his returning date around October 15th to November 15th, which will put him within the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season. So, Brian, what does this mean for JR's future in New York?
You see me shaking my head, man. This is you give. Max has a great thing to say about this. I know for a fact. We're talking in the pre-show, but you give a guy who's undergone knee surgery. He's going under major knee surgery, major patella arthroscopic knee surgery. A 4-year, $24 million contract. Like, I love J.R. Smith. I love the way he plays, but do we not know this? Like, why all of a sudden we giving him a huge deal if he's got a bad knee? I mean, Amari Stoudemire, anybody? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, Brian, I agree. You know, the reports came out today that it's actually it's been a chronic knee issue, which is even worse. I mean, this has been an ongoing process that the Knicks have known about and supposedly affected his performance in the Pacers series. And you know, Frank Isola gave us a great quote today when talking about the issue, and he said, you know, which is worse, not knowing JR had a bad knee and signing him to 4 years, or as the Knicks claim, knowing it and still giving him 4 years. And you really got to think about that. What were they thinking? You saw he didn't get market value. So, you know, you definitely could have got this guy on you know, a smaller contract had you put this injury, you know, into consideration. It's just something that you got to shake your head at and really question.
Andrew, I know you're coming afar from LA, but what's your take on the JR situation?
Oh, well, it sucks. I mean, for one thing, J.R. Smith is a huge part of that team in that he's the leader of that bench unit. Go back to numerous games last year, especially when Carmelo was out. J.R. Smith was their only offense for a lot of the games. And to me, I'm kind of not surprised because in the Pacers series, he wasn't his best. I mean, and also he has that chronic that chronic problem of chucking up too many shots. I mean, he's going like 2 for 13 and chucking up a heat check 3. I mean, you can't be having that. And I wouldn't be too worried for the Knicks if J.R. Smith had a spotless work ethic like Kobe Bryant, but he doesn't. In fact, he has notoriety around the league for being a slacker, for partying too much, for just not caring enough about what is his career and what is his livelihood. So we're going to really see how this pans out. The Knicks are, I think, they're gonna suffer a huge setback because they can't have Melo on the floor for all 48 minutes. He's not that kind of player. And when he's on the bench, what's going to happen for the Knicks? And who's going to score for them? Who's going to run the offense?
I'm totally with like who is going. You're absolutely right. Is Andrea Bargnani going to be the bench scorer that they're going to have? Is Amari Stoudemire going to be the bench scorer that they're going to have? Are they going to start that? There's nobody else that like they didn't go out and sign an Anthony Morrow. They didn't go out and sign any sharpshooting 3 guys that can just come on and light it up. I mean, Steve Novak at least scored. Yes, he didn't play defense, but like you don't have a guy who can consistently score off the bench. What are you going to do?
I mean, I look at this team as a more high-profile, you know, bigger name. In what they've done this offseason, Pacers team, they're a little less physical, yes, but they have a bunch of guys besides Melo that can do a little bit of everything now. I think Bargnani will give you a little bit of that boost. When JR comes back, you know, he'll be his inconsistent self, but he'll still give you something. You know, you're going to have another step forward for Shumpert. Hardaway Jr. is coming in. You don't know what you're going to get out of him, but you know he can spot up and shoot the ball. You know, Amari's going to be healthy. So, yeah, he's a question mark. He's always hurt, but he's going to be back. You know, if you can get 15, 14 from him, that's another boost. So this is a team that can spread out the scoring. Obviously, Melo's going to get his 25 to 30 a night, but this is a team that I look for a big offensive boost this year. They're going to be healthy once JR, but you know, I look for this team to spread around the scoring a little bit more this year than they did last year.
Right. And good points all around, and I wish we could continue this discussion, but we're running out of time for this segment. So, hey, if you liked what you saw, give that like button some love. Click that annotation to subscribe to our channel. If you like what we said, you might like what we write. Go on, follow us on Tumblr at www.finalpoints.com. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. All the links are down below in the doobly-doo. And until next time, stay tuned.